Hey guys, and welcome to March's wrap-up video. So if you don't know, every month I talk about the films and TV shows that I've watched and the books that I've read. And shameless plug, I do have a gaming channel where I talk about all the video games I've bought and played as well. So please feel free to check that one out if you'd like to as well. But let's just get straight in and we'll start with films. I have watched a film! So if you're familiar with my wrap-ups, you know that I don't watch a lot of films at all. I have watched a film. So I watched Barbie this month and I really wanted to like it. As you can see, I don't have the DVD to show you because it's gone back to CEX. I bought it from CEX and it's gone back. I did not like Barbie at all and I'm so disappointed because I really wanted to. I understood the message before anyone comes for me. I get the point of the film, I really do. And I think the message is a positive one, or it can be a positive one. But I just didn't like it. I didn't get on with it. It's just not for me. And that's okay. Do you know, it's been a bit of a learning curve for me this month with, I'll talk about it when we get to TV shows as well, but not liking something that everybody else seems to like around you is okay. You know, it really is. Because I get that feeling sometimes of like, what am I missing? Everybody around me seems to love this thing and I don't. And I don't understand if it's me, I'm the problem. And you know, we all have different tastes at the end of the day, and I've learned that it's perfectly acceptable to not like something just because everybody else is liking it, you know? I really wanted to like Barbie. I loved some of the old Barbie animations. I am not ashamed to say it. Barbie Princess and the Pauper, absolutely. But this, I just didn't. It's not that I didn't get it, because I did. And I get the hype to a degree, but it just wasn't for me. It really wasn't. I found it boring. I found it long. I just didn't enjoy. I tell you what, I was going to say I didn't enjoy any of it. Actually, there was a couple of scenes that I did enjoy. I don't want to put spoilers here, but between Barbie and a real life character, should we say a real life person, there was a couple of scenes that I really enjoyed there. But that was it. And if you like 2 or 3 scenes in a film, and that's all you like, then you can't really say you like the film, can you? So that's actually the only film that I watched this month, but I did want to put a little caveat here on something that we don't normally talk about, which is podcasts. So the Truest Blood Season 3 and 4 podcast has started, and Truest Blood is basically a podcast by Deborah Ann Woll and Kristen Bauer. Deborah Ann Woll played Jessica Hamby in True Blood, and Kristen Bauer played Pam. And Truest Blood, yeah, it's about True Blood, the show. I am a huge True Blood fan. So if you like podcasts and behind the scenes information and all that kind of stuff, I'd highly encourage you to give Truest Blood a listen because I think it's fantastic. One of the episodes recently was Denis O'Hare. What a phenomenal actor Denis O'Hare really is. This is not the last time we'll be talking about him in this wrap up. Denis O'Hare, he's just outstanding. I love him. So yeah. We don't normally talk about podcasts, but I thought I'd put it in. So let's move on to TV shows, and I've watched quite a few, so I'm going to get through these pretty quickly. So I think I spoke about it last month. I Am a Killer on Netflix. I struggle with these kind of shows, to be honest, but it's a documentary style kind of interview show where it's set in America, although it's a British production company, and they're talking to killers on death row, killers who have life. It's a really hard one to talk about. This is a good place to briefly talk about, and I'm not going to get into it too much. Exploitation for the sake of drama, okay? So the question is, should we be making these kind of shows at all? There is absolutely an argument to be made for both sides, and can I make that argument if I'm currently watching it? Maybe not, because I am the consumer in this argument. But I think the show's done well. There are some things that I do find exploitative for the sense of that shock, that, you know what I mean? And let's never forget when we're watching these kind of documentaries that we are talking about real people, real killers, you know, who have committed horrific crimes. There are extenuating circumstances sometimes. I don't even know how much YouTube will allow me to talk about here. So I'm not saying if you do this thing, then you're doomed, you know what I mean? That's not me. I personally do not believe in death row. I'm not going to get into it here. I personally don't believe in the death penalty. However, I can see the argument for it. We're not going to have that discussion here, but Yes, there is an argument to be made on whether these kind of shows are exploitative, whether they are sensitive towards the victims and their families. I think this show does a very good job of being sensitive towards the victims and their families, but that's not always the case. So I'm sure I'll talk about this next month as well, because we haven't finished yet. We're very close to finishing it though. But yeah, I think there is some nuance there that needs to be discussed, but we'll move swiftly on. So I have been watching American Horror Stories. I spoke about that last month as well. Stories, plural. So briefly, there's American Horror Story, the show, and then there's American Horror Stories. One's an anthology show that goes through, episode 1 to 10, and it's a storyline all the way through. American Horror Stories is one-offs for the most part of a secular story. So last time I spoke to you about American Horror Stories, I believe I'd watched episode 1 and 2. That was it. So of season 1, I've finished season 1. I've watched all 7 episodes, and season 2, I've just watched one episode 1. So let's go through them very, very quickly because I don't want this video to run too long. Episode 3 was about a drive-in and a movie that makes people go mad and kill, basically. This is not spoilers, this is pretty much what they tell you from the start. Didn't really like that one, to be honest. Episode 4, I've got my notes here because I do not know this by memory, was The Bro House. Hated it. No, moving on. Episode 5 was kind of pregnancy horror. So if that's not your thing, and I totally understand for a lot of people why that's not their thing, I would avoid this one. I loved it. I thought it was the best one. Episode 6 was about feral people in the woods, shall we say. I'm not going to use any names here. Didn't like it. And episode 7 was a continuation, technically, of episodes 1 and 2. And I kind of like that one. I thought the premise was very clever. But how do I say this without spoilers? Everybody tends to love the first season of American Horror Story, which is Murder House. So do I. I love it. They need to let it go now, though, I think. I think we are done going back to the Murder House. I think nip it in the bud, and that's that. So that's all I'll say for that. And finally, for season 2, episode 1, Dollhouse. I loved Dollhouse, and I cannot even tell you why, because it's huge spoilers for the main show. I loved Dollhouse. I really, really did. So that's a little bit, what's the word? Hypocritical of me, because of what I just said about episode 7, season 1. And yet I like episode 1 of season 2. You'll understand if you've watched it. This is really hard for me to say without spoilers. But I really, really enjoyed season 2, and you'll probably hear, well, the first episode I've watched, so you'll probably hear more about American Horror Stories in next month's, because I'm going to be carrying on watching it. So what do we have next? Yes, Helluva Boss and Hazbin Hotel. I have watched both, finished both. I am so scared to talk about these shows because they have a huge fandom who can be quite vocal. I loved Hazbin Hotel. Let me start there. So Hazbin Hotel, you can watch now on Amazon Prime. Helluva Boss is free on YouTube if you'd like to watch that. I have no idea how I even start telling you what these shows are, and actually I don't want to. I kind of want you to go in as blind as I did. I was not part of the fandom. I went in pretty blind, and I loved Hazbin. I loved Hazbin Hotel so much. I love the songs. I love the characters. I am 100% Charlie, and I'm not afraid to admit it. And Helluva Boss, I didn't like as much, actually. And I feel like it's the other way around. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like most people like Helluva Boss and not Hazbin, from what I've seen online. Or they like them both equally. I prefer Hazbin. I liked Helluva Boss for what it was. I appreciated it for what it was. But I'm a Hazbin girl if I had to choose. But that's all the TV shows I watched. And I'm going to try and wrap this up because we're about to talk about books. And I know this is quite long. So let's go on to books. Oh, this is heavy. ACOTAR! So I've spoken about this in the last 3 or 4 wrap-ups because I haven't obviously read all these in a month. I finished Court of Frost and Starlight. I'd already read these 3. Finished Court of Frost and Starlight, and I finished A Court of Silver Flames. Court of Silver Flames, my favourite book. My favourite book. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So let me briefly talk about ACOTAR because I don't want to talk about it too much. When I did the wrap-up where I spoke about Court of Thorns and Roses, the first book, I didn't like it. Still don't like the first book. I'm glad I persevered. The second book, much better. Still wasn't convinced. By the third book, hooked, absolutely hooked. And these three, I absolutely love them. I am 100% part of the ACOTAR fandom now. I wish I wasn't, because I'm part of far too many fandoms, as you already know. I don't need to be in another one, but I am. Nesta has my whole heart. The whole of... Oh, I don't want to say too much because of spoilers, but I could talk about ACOTAR all the time now. I have heard, I don't know if this is a fact or not, that the author is a little bit problematic. I have heard that. There's a problem with that, isn't there? Let's not go there. So I'm not advocating for the author, but I will say I love the books. I don't know if I'll read any of her other series though, because it took me so long to get into ACOTAR. It's not my favourite writing style in the world, I will say that. It took me so long to get into it that I don't know if I have the investment in me right now to do another series. Another book series of something. So maybe, maybe not, but I am 100% in the ACOTAR fandom now. So next up for books, again, I'm going to go through this quite quickly. I got the Draken Order of the Flame strategy guide, finally. I will be talking about this more on my video game channel if you would like to check that out. I don't need to tell you, Draken is my favourite franchise of all time. There's only two. Does that class as a franchise? I just flipped you off. I am so sorry. I did not mean to do that. You can't demonetize me, YouTube. I'm not monetized. But yeah, Draken Order of the Flame strategy guide. I just love this game so much, and I've been after this strategy guide for so long, so I'm happy that I finally got it. And of course I read it, because of course I did. And the final book that we have to talk about is this one, which I'm not far in, and it's Druids, Preachers of Immortality by Anne Ross. Anne Ross unfortunately passed away in 2012, so I did want to say that. I'm literally that much in, so I've still got all of this left, so I can't talk too much about this book in this wrap-up. We'll talk about it more next month. The reason I wanted to get into this is I've heard the word druids in a, druidry in a very fantasy setting, so I don't really know too much about the real druids. But it's not all, druidism is not, all magic and stuff like that. But I love the history of the Celts and that kind of thing. And the druids, of course, Celtic, everything in there. I love history, so I can't talk too much about it. Like I say, I'm not too much into it, but I'm really enjoying it so far. So that's everything. I tried to get through this as quickly as I could. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of anything that I spoke about today. It's been such a heavy month for fandom. Honestly, I don't have space in my heart for any more fandoms. I really don't. But thank you very much for watching. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to wrap the wrap up here. So I will see you next month for April's wrap up. Hopefully I'm going to see you before that. I do want to do another apology, and I can't remember your name, but thank you so much to the person on my last one of these who said you don't need to apologise. That really means a lot to me. I don't want to get emotional, but I feel like I do, because I don't post on this channel as often as I should, and I do apologise for that, because I am so appreciative that you're all here and you all watch this stuff. I really am. So I really am trying. Please believe that. But I hope you enjoy this anyway, and hopefully we can get back to more regular content. I know I keep saying that. I'm like a broken record. I'm so sorry. Oh no, I said sorry again. But thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you like this kind of thing, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.